I arrived in Vietnam after 2 years, and there's one thing I kept hearing about that wasn't even on my radar last time: the Ha Giang Loop. The loop is a beautiful motorbike route in northern Vietnam that usually takes around 3 to 5 days to complete. All I kept hearing is that it's some of the most stunning landscape anyone's ever seen. Those were some big words to live up to, but I was talked into it. So I just booked a sleeper bus from Hanoi to Ha Giang. I can't wait to show you the sleeper bus. I've missed these things. They're different everywhere you go in the world. In Vietnam, it's like little bathtubs. From Hanoi, I got a bus to Ha Giang, the city where you begin the loop. I met a few new friends and we rented some semi-automatics for 140,000 dong per day. We woke up the next morning to avoid the checkpoint. Since more and more tourists are doing this loop, there's a police checkpoint set up to stop you and see if you have an international driver's permit. To avoid this, leave before 6:30 a.m. when they show up for work. We started the ride, and before we knew it, we had been driving for miles, far past the supposed checkpoint, and so we were home free. This was the beginning of the famous Ha Giang Loop.
And this is supposed to be the pass? That's
yeah,
the
this is
sky
really
pass.
famous.
Alright, we just left on the Ha Giang Loop. This is day 1. So the Ha Giang Loop is a motorbike loop that takes about 3 to 5 days. We're probably going to take about 4 to do it. I met some friends and they're all coming with me. So let's go check it out. On day 1, the drive was 120 kilometers from Ha Giang to Yen Minh. After just a few kilometers, the fresh mountain air starts to hit you and you get your first glimpse into what's to come. The road started narrow and we saw our first rolling hills and limestone formations. So our first stop here is Quan Ba, Heaven Gate. So our first stop here is Heaven Gate, and then we also see another place over here where there's a little hill range. We're about an hour or so into the trip now, and you'll see some stairs on the side of the road, and this is Heaven Gate. So you'll have 2 viewpoints on either side. Next, we had to stop at one of the few waterfalls in the area. They weren't too easy to find, and we ended up getting to the hidden Nai waterfall. Half of our group stumbled upon a bigger waterfall where there were hundreds of people around bathing, having fun, being loud, but our half of the group had this hidden place all to ourselves. So there are a couple of waterfalls on the Ha Giang Loop, and we're about to see our first one. Maybe more tomorrow. For lunch we stopped in Quan Ba and ate at one of the few homestays nestled between rice terraces. We asked around and everywhere at a set price of 100,000 dong per person, or around $4 to $5 for a family-style meal. We had a buffet of tofu, spring rolls, egg, wasabi, greens, chicken, beef, and of course, happy water. Happy water is a rice wine that's served with every meal you have up here. It clocks in at around 30% alcohol, and so we didn't have more than a tiny shot glass each to celebrate for the day. After all, we still had half the ride to come.
How are we gonna drive the rest of the way with this?
The ride started getting much better from here. We started finding ourselves riding along extremely curvy roads, winding around wide rice terraces and mountains. Alright, we decided to stop for an amazing view. Look at this. This is amazing. Alright, this is one of the most amazing views yet on the Ha Giang Loop. Alright, take a look at these rice terraces. We passed through Yen Minh Pine Forest and then descended on the other side into the small town of Yen Minh. Finally, just when the sun was about to go down, we found our homestay in Yen Minh. Our room was just a large space with 20 beds or so, and we found out later that this is actually typical of the region and how we would spend each night on the rest of our trip. Stay tuned, day 2 was even better. Hey, thanks for making it all the way through this video. Hit subscribe to follow the adventure because I'm traveling all over the world and I'm sharing it all with you. And then click one of these videos to keep watching. Thanks.